Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another MAMJ Let's Play of 999. Now when we left off, Snake wasn't dead yet, and technically he still isn't dead, but he's gonna be very soon, because we're gonna go through door number 3. Now what this is gonna allow us to do, is actually gonna let us go through the shower room and investigate it, and there's actually a puzzle and stuff like that in there, and I know some of you guys wanted to see that, so that's exactly what this episode is gonna be. It may be a little bit shorter, but that may actually fit into something else that's gonna work better for me, which I may or may not have announced before this video. I'm not sure yet. I gotta see how long this video is gonna be and whether or not I have time to do what I want to do. But anyways, let's focus on the now, and we're gonna go through door number 3. I want to go through door number 3. No, you can't. Huh? Why? Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we give up on going through door 3. Why? The bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 2 combinations that can go through door 3, with 3 people. 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8. That's it. Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door. I see. That means 1 team will get left behind. That's right. That doesn't happen if we go through door 6 or 7 or 8. No, they're fine. We've got 3 options. Santa began to explain. Plan A. Go through door 7 with 3, 5, 8 and go through door 8 with 4, 6, 7. Plan B. Go through door 7 with 4, 5, 7 and go through door 8 with 3, 6, 8. Plan C. Go through door 7 with 3, 6, 7 and go through door 8 with 4, 5, 8. Those are the only 3 options. That's it. At least, if we want to get all 6 of us out of here. It was then that Junpei realized. Plan A divides into 2 teams, 3, 5, 8 and 4, 6, 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams, 4, 5, 7 and 3, 6, 8. Plan C divides into 2 teams, 3, 6, 7 and 4, 5, 8. There was one thing they all had in common. In every single combination, 5 and 6 were never on the same team. In other words, if all 6 people were to move forward, Junpei and June would be separated. June and Junpei had been friends when they were kids. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do? Anyway, that's the deal, so think it over. You've got 2 choices, 7 or 8. You can't choose 3. If you choose 3, you're going to be leaving 3 people behind to die. So what are you going to do? 7 or 8, time to choose. Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was door 3. Sorry, Santa, but I still want to go through door 3. What? That's nuts. You've got to be crazy. Why the hell are you so obsessed with that door? Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say. I'm just curious about door 3. That's all. That doesn't explain anything. I've got a reason. I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me. With that, he began walking toward the door. Their curiosity likely to get the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that wouldn't matter. He kept walking and kept silent. Eventually, they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei stopped. I'm curious about the red. 7, would you mind authenticating for me? Huh? Why? Please, just do it. He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner. Happy? Yeah, thanks. The number 7 had been entered into the red. Next is June. Please, touch the red just like 7 did. Junpei, what are you trying to figure out? Junpei thought about his answer for a moment. I think I might have found another way out. Huh? What? Really? That got them excited. Just as Junpei had intended. Now, please, June. Okay. 7 plus 6 equals 13. 1 plus 3 equals 4. With those 2 numbers in the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He casually placed his own hand on the scanner, and the third asterisk blinked on. Is he just gonna pull the lever and go? Alright. The only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus. So, what's your point? You don't get it? Think about it. What's the sum of your number and Clover's? 12? And what's the digital root of that? 3. Which is Santa's number. By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red? It would be 9, right? Yes. And what would the digital root be if you add 3 to that? 3. The door's number. There you go. Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to? I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting. Waiting for what? I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting. Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever. You're crazy! Tricked us! Then all the stuff you're going on about is just crap. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I figured out another way to get out of here? This is it. Why the hell would you do something like this? Junpei glanced at June. Jumpy, you did this just so you could go through the same door as June? That's it? Santa was furious. His face was red, and flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. Junpei closed his eyes calmly, and then opened them again. So, who's it gonna be? Santa or Lotus and Clover? Oh my god, this would be so mean. We're going. Clover! Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei in the door. Caught by surprise, Santa froze for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Almost immediately, he passed Lotus and Clover. No, wait! Santa did not hesitate. Urgh! He slammed his hand down on the red. This is insane! This isn't right! He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving. Yeah, well, you may be right. Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort. He turned to the red and pulled the lever. And here we go. It's probably a good thing that Clover's not gonna go in here though. With the sound of metal on metal, the door opened. It would only remain open for 9 seconds. There was no time to think. Go! Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door's gaping mouth, one after another. No sooner did they enter, an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. The detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once, and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the closing door. They stood still, stopped where they had been when Santa reached the red. Their defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Then, the door closed, and they were gone. Junpei, this isn't fair. Santa rounded on Junpei. Lightning crackled in his eyes and his knuckles white. Do you realize what you just did? You just left them out there, and they can't... Shut it! That's enough! It hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but 7. We gotta find the dead, or none of this is gonna matter. The clock was ticking. The dead was their only chance of survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate their detonators, the 4 of them would be... We got less than a minute left! No time for screwing around, let's get moving! They scattered and began to scour the room. The deactivation device was nowhere to be found. Corridors stretched out in 3 directions, but every one was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. The other door. There! 7 ran for the door, a rusty iron thing. His large hands grabbed hold of the handle and pulled. The room inside was pitch black. They could see nothing beyond the small patch of light that spilled through the doorway. Junpei stuck his head through the door and looked around the room. Almost immediately, he spotted the blinking red light on the right wall. I found it! The dead's right over here! He stepped into the room and nearly fell down. The floor was slippery. What? He stopped and glanced down at his feet. What was... Hey, what the hell are you doing? Get over there! Junpei felt Seven's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. The other three piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could easily be identified, only a sense that something terrible shared the room with them. But there was no time to say so. Quick, get to the dead! They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was the tiny red light, blinking at them over and over and over. Then finally, suddenly, they were there. In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel. Whew. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted. It stopped. It stopped. Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face. What the... The sound of retching came from Santa's direction. What the hell is this smell? It's vile. I'm gonna puke. So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench, like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took. He felt the stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat. Let's get the lights on first. There's a switch over here. The light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small switch plate next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes apparent in his gait, Seven walked toward it. Oh, that squishing sound though. He stopped as he got close and extended his fingers toward the switch. There was a soft click as the lights came on. It had scarcely faded when another noise pierced the air. A scream. Yeah! Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out like fresh spaghetti. Be great if I could read. For some reason, this game makes me all nervous. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it. Looks like an explosion. Seven's voice was low and strained. Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut. It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to shatter the display, which lay on the ground in pieces. Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes too were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks. They were all familiar to Junpei. Is that Snake? Santa's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry. Oh my god. Finally, Junpei spoke. Why did this happen? No! Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream, full of insanity, and not entirely human. No, no, no! She shook her head violently and grabbed fistfuls of her own hair. Junpei could hear the sound of her hair tearing. No. Stop it, June! He grabbed for her wrist, but as he did, June leapt up and ran toward the exit. Please, get me out of here! You have to let me out of here! She screamed at the door, and her fist slammed against it with a hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of her blood on her knuckles. Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this? She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry. Her fists flailed against the door. Get me out of here! Please! Please, just let me out! Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door. No, get off me! Let me go! Let me go! She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed towards the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. So, that's not a normal reaction. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Her shoulders shook, and great, hot tears rolled down her face like rain. We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June. It's gonna be okay, Canny. Her name was a whisper. I'll be here with you, okay? She nodded once. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy. Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic. Do you feel better? Yes, but I'd like to stay here. For a little while, at least. Jumpy's body's so warm. Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. They didn't speak. Neither did Seven or Santa. A person was dead. They had died in that room, in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget it, but mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made of lead. And now we have to find a way out of this room, but of course we're going to be able to find a few clues, hopefully in the process as well. Okay, so what do we got here? Alright, let's see if anything happens when I turn you. Nope, nothing. Not even a drop. Is the pipe clogged? What about these letters? I know you guys are curious about these letters. LLR. Those letters written in blood. LLR. Do you think that might be some sort of dying message from Snake? No, that's impossible. You saw the body. You aren't doing anything after something like that happens. Then this... The way the blood's tried tells you it's real old. Whoever's blood this is, it ain't Snake's. Then you're saying this blood was put here a long time ago? Yeah. So, LLR. Do I need this bar? I feel like I needed a bar somewhere. Oh, there's a note here. Oh? What's that do? What's that for? Why can we do that? An old message. I know that. Okay, I don't know why I can turn that light, because it turns it back on when I... Okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We got toilet paper up here. Oh, bloody toilet paper. That sounded weirder when I said it. Okay, anyways, what else is there? A wooden box. There's something in here. Luminol. Okay. Luminol's excellent. Okay, so can we put some luminol on the wall there. What do you think this is? Looks like tar. It's kind of sticky. I don't think we can just wipe it off. I doubt just pouring some water on it's gonna help much either. What about hot water? Hot water? If we had some really hot water, like boiling hot, then maybe we could wash it off. Okay, so we need to boil some water. It's a water tank for a toilet. I've seen a lot of OC guys try and hide a piece in something like this. Usually for a 187 or something. Guess they think it's clever. Don't know when they'll figure out everybody else thinks it's clever too. Huh? I mean, I know peace, but what's OC? Organized crime? What is that? Some kind of police slang? Huh? Probably. Huh? What I say? Why is it like all sad now? It's not really important right now, guys. Let's just check it out, alright? Well, he's not wasting any time. Screwdriver, okay. Toilet tanks, there's nothing in it, which means we can't flush it. Kinda hard to flush the toilet without water. It makes enough sense there. There's some toilet paper on this shelf, okay? Don't need that. What about you? The dividing wall that separates the toilets. I know that, silly. Skinny shelf. There's nothing in the toilet. If there was, that would be gross. True. There might be something in the tank, you know? Let's open that up. Ooh, keycard. Ooh, okay, alright. Now we're getting places. Okay, so. Oh my god, there's so many stalls. I already checked all 3 toilets, you know. Nothing unusual there. Okay, cool. It's a thermometer. Can you get it off? No. It's screwed onto the wall. Well, I've got something to fix that. Toilet paper. No. The thermometer was screwed into the wall. That meant that Junpei needed to take the screws out with the screwdriver. While he was so engaged, Santa suddenly spoke. Hey, Junpei. You know why thermometers only go up to 107 degrees Fahrenheit or 75 degrees Celsius? Like this one? Junpei answered without taking his eyes off the screw. No, can't say I ever thought about that. At 107 degrees, the cells in the human body start to die, and the organs begin to shut down. The proteins in your cells start to harden. It's like when you hard boil an egg. Even if you cool it down afterwards, it won't go back to being a raw egg. In other words, it's dead. That's why thermometers don't go past 107. There's no point. Why had Santa brought that up? Junpei wondered. Oh yeah? He continued to work at the screw. But it's pretty rare for a fever to get that high. Even viruses and stuff usually don't drive a body temperature up to 107. Of course, there are other external things that could... Like what? Well, let's see. Something like getting locked in a sauna. Or getting thrown into an incinerator and burnt to death. Yeah, I guess that would be a little hotter than 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Junpei gave a short, barking laugh. A moment later, the screw fell off. With a small tug, Junpei pulled the thermometer from the wall. Alright, I got it! He looked up and saw Santa, glaring at a blank section of the wall. Huh? What's up? Nothing. Forget about it. Santa spun around and walked off, away from Junpei. But as Junpei watched him go, he didn't look angry. He looked very, very sad. So what's on here that we need? Oh, you took the thermometer off. It says open at the bottom of the gauge. I wonder what it means. Maybe when it gets that hot, something will open? Oh, so we need to heat this up too? Ooh, blue key card. Huh? It looks like there's something down there on that grate. I think it's a card. Yeah, it's a blue card. I can't reach it though. It's too deep. Oh, so we need water, I guess, to get that. All right, that's fine. Can we leave here? Well, I mean, not that way. I meant the other way, but whatever. What's in here? Oh, there's a piece of paper tied to this pipe with a wire. Drainage valve operation. Please do not flush the water in these pipes. Doing so may cause the drain to overflow. Alright, let's do it. Where do I need to go? What? I doubt you turned them all. Okay, so where are we going? What are we doing with this? Oh. So they can go a whole bunch of different directions, huh? Except up. They don't go up. Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Pipe on the right must be connected to the drain in the middle of the room. If you turn the water on here, it'll probably rush up through the drain. Yeah, but how? I'm guessing it comes up through here? But which way is the handle supposed to go? Oh! Is that what you're for? Wait, you don't really think we're supposed to use the luminol here, do you? Yeah, it does seem kind of weird to use it here. But maybe I should try it just in case. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so LLR, LRL. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so now I have an answer. L, L, R, L, R, L. Right? Looks like the flow of the water can be controlled. Did I do it wrong? Did I do it backwards? I must have done it backwards. Oh wait, hang on. So L, L, R, L, R, L. There we go. Okay, well, I did what it said on the wall. I just did it backwards. I wonder if it actually did anything. Hey, this drain's acting up. What the hell did you do? I just messed with the valves a little. Nothing big. Let's get that card. There must be water flowing through the pipe on the right. There's water pouring out of the drain. Give me that card. Okay, so now we have 2 cards. But we still need more stuff. Right? Key card, thermometer, toilet paper. Let's inspect the toilet paper and maybe they'll say something about it. Toilet paper has some kind of red symbols on it. You think maybe that's a Cytale cipher? Oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, what the hell is that? Wrap a piece of paper around a stick and then write several sentences on it so that the whole paper is filled up. And you run with the paper and you can't tell what the original message was. Yeah, so you wrap it around something and it reveals. Okay, got it. Stick the same diameter as the original one. Okay, same diameter. Okay, so we got the screwdriver. Then you just wrap the paper on the stick and you can read the code. Oh, well, I don't have my screwdriver anymore, do I? So I need broom? Junpei reached for the broom, and as he grabbed it, he heard a soft voice from behind him. It was June. The rabbit hutch. Huh? He turned around. June still looked sadly pale, but there was a smile on her face. Oh, you just reminded me of it. The rabbit hutch, I mean. How did I remind you something like that? Jumpy and the broom. You were always playing around with the broom in front of the rabbit hutch. I was? Don't you remember? Junpei stared at the broom in his hand. You mean, you don't remember that summer either? She looked very sad. He shook his head. Of course I remember. How could I forget something like that? It was terrible. Oh, yeah. They were in 6th grade. Junpei and June had been assigned to take care of the classroom pets, the rabbits. Their chief duty was to clean the hutches every morning. On the final day of school before summer vacation began, Junpei overslept. He rushed to school and found June standing in front of the rabbit hutches. No sooner had Junpei arrived than June began to cry. He had no idea why until he looked behind her, into the rabbit hutch. The first thing he saw was blood. The hutch was filled with dead bodies of the rabbits. Even after their teachers and friends came to see what the commotion was, June couldn't stop crying. I just kept crying and crying until you came over. You held my hand and you looked very serious and you said, "Don't cry, I'm gonna catch the person who did this." After you told me that, I finally stopped crying. Well, the real fun started after you quit crying. You told me you were gonna catch the killer together. June smiled, and a little of the flush of life returned to her cheeks. Then we decided that we'd ambush them. Yeah, I remember. The school also kept roosters and guinea pigs. Junpei and June had decided the murderer would likely return to finish off the rest of the animals. They would ambush the killer at night. Junpei and June hid behind the hutch at dusk and waited. It was a warm summer night. The quiet sounds of crickets whispered through the air. As the sun went down, the stars began to wink at them from the sky. And June's, Akane Kurashiki's face. That night was something Junpei knew he would never forget, as long as he lived. But the murderer never showed up. We waited for them all summer vacation, and they never showed up. Yeah, but the animals didn't get attacked either. I think all that work amounted to something, you know? He'd felt the same way, but it was good to hear her say it. Although, you know, if you think about it, we were probably taking on a lot more than we could handle. What do you mean? She looked up at him, confused. Well, come on. We were just kids. If whoever killed the rabbits had actually showed up, they probably would have had a knife or something. I mean, you must have been pretty worried, right? I wasn't worried. Because you were there with me. She blushed furiously. You know, no one else wanted to take care of the animals. Clearly embarrassed, she tried desperately to change the subject. I was the only one who asked to do it, at first. Yeah, boys don't really want to bother with taking care of animals, you know? Well, yeah, but you asked to do it after I did, didn't you? If it wasn't the rabbits, they were gonna make me do something else. You know how that school was. I figured it'd be better if I was working with somebody who wasn't too much of a loudmouth, right? Somebody who wasn't gonna tell on me if I felt like blowing it off. Really? That's why you volunteered? Yeah, it is. He nodded quickly and much too earnestly, and then quickly looked away at something very important. That hadn't been the reason, of course. He had asked to take care of the rabbits so that he could be near June. But it had been so long ago, he couldn't bring himself to tell her how he'd felt back then. It would be embarrassing. He took a quick breath to clear his head, tossed the broom up, and then snatched it out of the air. Well, we don't really have time to be walking down memory lane like this, you know? We gotta figure out a way out of this room. Otherwise, yes. June nodded curtly, then turned and walked away. Junpei turned around and looked at the room, at Snake's body. Chunks of flesh and organs still lay on the floor. The conversation he and June had been having scarcely fit their surroundings. But perhaps that was simple human nature. Despite such a situation, or perhaps because of it, the mind turned to the farthest thing from death that it could find. Still, Junpei couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt at wanting so desperately to live when Snake lay dead before him. He had to live. He wanted a life again, a life with June in it. As he stared at the clumps of blackened flesh, all Junpei could think of was how much he wanted to live. Whew, okay, let's combine this with this. What if I wrap the toilet paper around the broom? There we go. Now let me look at that. 634 plus. Oh, so you wrap the toilet paper around the broom, huh? Looks like the symbols line up perfectly. It says 634 plus. Which is what? What exactly? That's not the code, is it? I don't know what the plus means. I feel like I'm still missing something. Cause we got 2 key cards and the thermometer. What do we do with this thermometer? It's gotta open. They wouldn't let us screw it off if it didn't have a purpose, you know? Yeah, I figured that wasn't gonna do anything. Okay. It says open at the bottom of the gauge. 634 plus. Because I think we need to boil some water and put it down here. But how? That is my question. That's where we came in. I guess it's not locked, but there ain't really any point. All that's out there is the number door. We can't go back through the number door, even if we wanted to. True that? Okay. Yeah, if I can get this hot water on the thermometer, then maybe. Alright, thermometer, let's get this party started. Oh, really? Just like that? It wouldn't get that hot though, would it? Yep, looks like that's doing the trick. Never mind. There goes the gauge. And now it's at the open mark. Huh. It opened. What's this? Looks like there's a piece of paper in here. 957 plus? Can I combine these? No. So we have 2 sets of numbers now. 637 plus and 957 plus. 957 plus. That means you're supposed to add something to 957, doesn't it? Well, yeah. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. The problem is what to add. Okay, so if that can give me boiling water, can I take this bucket? Oh, I can. Okay, so let's take the bucket and fill it up with hot water and pour it down the toilet. I mean, that's the most logical thing to do, right? Fill the bucket with hot water, yes. Hey, 7, could you turn on the shower? I'm gonna put the bucket under the head. Okay, sure thing. Okay, so we have 634, 957. All right, now we have a bucket full of hot water. Awesome. And it was here. Pop this guy open. There's something that looks like tar inside the toilet bowl. I flush the hot water from the bucket. That should. Oh yeah, I gotta put it in the tank. Okay. All right, so I just pour the hot water into the tank. Looks like you filled it. Now you should be able to flush it, right? There's probably a handle somewhere on the tank that you can pull. You think so? Serious? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Tank's filled with boiling water. All I gotta do now is pull the handle. Doesn't it want to... Can I go back, or is it gonna yell at me? Some pipes are connected to the tank of the toilet. Well, yeah. Light bulb, okay. Where the heck's the handle for the toilet? It cannot be that far away. If you were in this bathroom, you'd have to use it, right? Let's flush the hot water. Oh, okay, we just click on the tank, because that makes sense. There it goes, the toilet works like a toilet should. 185 equals, okay, so let's see here. We got 634 plus 957 plus 185 equals, give me 1 second here, okay. Is that right? Let me double check my answer real quick, because I'm not 100% sure I'm good at this. Okay, I'm not good at math. Of course not. I'm only half Asian. That's probably a bad joke to make, but hey, I can do it. Okay, so. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it. So that probably needs to go into this key slot here, which is 1776. Nothing happens when I press these buttons. Looks like the power's on. I'm wondering what the deal is with those things that say lock up there, though. Oh. Do I need my key card? There we go. The red light's on, Jumpy. Okay, do I need the blue one? Great job, Jumpy. Both the lights are on now. Now you just need to put in the password, which should be 1776. Both lights are on. We should be able to enter the password now. What's with these E and C? Really? Enter and clear. Come on. After you put in the password, hit E. If you screw it up, hit C. Got it. Let me just push the buttons. 1776. Enter. I don't screw up. Thank you very much. I just had to double check my work. Okay, we good? I think we're good. Alright. So, we didn't really learn a lot about Snake's death, unfortunately. I thought we were going to be able to do that, but we do know that the message, the LLR that was written on the wall, was not correlated to Snake's death. Okay, outside the shower room was a hallway that extended off to the left and right. At the end was a large iron door. They'd moved a few steps toward the door when Junpei heard the sound of metal on metal. They turned around. Seven was doing something to the door of the shower room. What are you doing, Seven?
Well, I figure maybe we might want to come back here sometime. So I stuck the broom in there to keep the door from shutting. Alright, let's go.
With that, he stood up and began walking down the hallway. He brushed past Junpei and kept going. After a moment, the rest of them followed him. Before long, they found themselves at the large iron door. They had only been there for a moment when June spoke up. Jumpy, look! He turned. There, on the right side of the hallway, was a piece of paper attached to the wall. Junpei ran over and peeled it off. Oh, the map, yeah. Okay, I don't know if any of this is going to be any different, although Lotus and them might hate us a little bit more when we come back and see them. There'll be time to look at it later. Junpei folded the map and stuffed it into his pocket. Back at the door, four of them lined up in front of it. Santa stepped forward. He grabbed hold of the door and then turned to look back at the rest of them. Ready? I'm gonna open it. They nodded. Santa nodded back and threw the door open. As we just circled right on back to where we were. All four of them leapt through. It only took a moment for them to realize where they were. They had been there only a short time ago. Yep, it was a large hospital room filled with countless beds. Okay, so I'm just curious what Lotus and them are going to say. Lotus and Clover looked up as they entered. Ace was there as well, although he looked as though he had just only woken up. The moment they spotted Junpei, Lotus and Clover headed straight for him. As she neared him, Lotus drew back her hand, and she slapped him, open palmed across the face. How could you do this to us? Her face was furious. She grabbed Junpei by the collar and shook him violently. Clover didn't touch him, but the hate in her eyes was no less potent. It was Seven who stopped them.
Knock it off. We've got bigger stuff to worry about right now.
His deep voice echoed across the massive room. Lotus glared at Seven, but let Junpei go after one last vicious hit. What?
Go, have a look. I stuck a screwdriver in the door. That door over there, the one without a number. So long as the screwdriver's there, it can't shut, so you can get in there.
Seven also explained how they might find the shower room, and how he'd use the broom to ensure that the door remained open as well. So you're saying we can go in there without passing through the numbered door?
Yeah, that's about the size of it.
What the hell's in there?
You'll know when you see it.
Lotus and Clover looked at one another for a moment, and then nodded and stepped through the door. By then, Aces made his way to him, moving with the stiff, shuffling steps of someone who had only just woken from a lengthy slumber. My goodness. I know I said I'd sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon. Ace shook his head weakly. Should I go as well? Seven nodded. Very well. Ace followed Lotus and Clover with a stiff, tired gait. He should have told Clover. Like, they should have set Clover up for that. That's not fair to her. It's really not fair to her. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time, it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. Yep, okay, so this is probably going to be the same. because she's already seen the body. Okay, so I think we're actually good. Oh,
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are, he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
7. Yeah, this is all the same, I think. Let me double check and make sure it lets me fast forward, because that means I've gone through all this dialogue before. Yep, okay, so all of that is the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here, and it's probably gonna be a little bit shorter, but that's okay because we're gonna be doing a little bit of shuffling around with some of the videos. So you guys may be excited to hear about that. I'll be sure to let you guys know, or maybe when you guys watch this video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But we are gonna go ahead and leave this video right here because this is as far as we're gonna go with this story path. I actually have to go back and play through the game again in order to get to where we need to be, because this branch, if you choose to go into door number 3 and investigate that room, it funnels you straight into the submarine ending, which we've already seen. So there's no point in doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and get back to where we were so that we can choose the other door that we haven't gone through for the hospital room. And then from there, we'll be able to get the other 2 endings, which I believe are axe and knife. And once we get those 2 endings, then I can go back and get the true ending and we can see everything to its full and entire conclusion. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this game and what your guys' theories are. Have they changed? Do you guys think that somebody else killed Snake or that something else is going on? Also, all these stories that people are remembering, do you think it has to do with anything? I'm really curious to find out what you guys think about this game. I'm having a ton of fun and I hope that you guys are as well. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next time. I am Jay. Junpei rushed to the door. Desperately, he grabbed hold of the doorknob. Ow! It was cold. Beyond cold. Merely touching it was painful. The doorknob had been frozen solid. They quickly deduced that the pipe next to the door had ruptured. Water released by the rupture had hit the door and frozen it instantly. Santa shoved Junpei aside and pounded against the door. Hey, Lotus! You're out there, right? Open the door!